As a math teacher, I see a lot of common mistakes. One of those is with problems like this: 4 divided by 1/2. Most people get this wrong. Most people think 4 divided by half is 2, and it's not. The problem with this is the way we think about dividing fractions. We need to think how many fit. Let's look at an example before we come back and answer this problem. If I have 3 divided by half, a lot of people will say it's 1/2 because half of 3 is 1/2. But that's not what dividing by a fraction does. Instead, we're thinking how many fit. So how many halves fit into 3? Here I can see that I have 6 halves that fit into 3. 3 divided by half is 6. That's why thinking how many fit is the best way to think about dividing by fractions. But how does this work numerically? We need to use keep, change, flip. It's a great way to keep track of what needs to happen in an equation in order to divide by a fraction. We start by keeping our 3. Now, when I say keep the 3, we actually have to make it into a fraction, 3/1, because when we change that division to a multiplication symbol. And whenever we multiply by fractions, everything has to be a fraction. Then we flip the half into 2/1. Multiply across the top. 2 times 3 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. So our total is 6. That's how many fit. Why do we change the division to a multiplication symbol and flip the second fraction? It's because the opposite of dividing is multiplication. So when we make that the opposite, we also have to make the last fraction opposite. Opposite of half is 2. Let's look at another example to help us out. If we have 2/3 of a cup of milk and we have a recipe that calls for 1/6 of a cup of milk, how many batches of this recipe can we make? Well, we need to think how many fit. We end up with the equation 2/3 divided by 1/6. We can see based on the picture that the answer should be 4. We can get 4 batches out of this. Numerically, we're going to keep that 2/3. We're going to change that division symbol to a multiplication symbol, and we are going to flip that 1/6 to 6/1. Multiply across the top. 2 times 6 is 12. Multiply across the bottom. 3 times 1 is 3. 12/3 is the same as 4. Let's go back to that original problem we started with, 4 divided by half. Take a second and think about how this is going to work. We are going to ask ourselves how many fit. We'll start with our 4 objects, and we'll remember keep, change, flip. We're going to keep that 4, we're going to change that division, and we're going to flip that half. So 4 times 2 is 8, 1 times 1 is 1, 8/1 is the same as 8. We can see in the picture that 4 divided into halves is in fact 8. If you found this interesting, please consider liking or subscribing by clicking on the I'll Learn logo. Remember, think how many fit.